Today we're going to make a quick project on how to make these beautiful, super trendy straps using 1.5-inch webbing and 1/2-inch swivel hook. And what I like about this method is that you don't need rivets and you don't really need a lot of material, okay? It's just a few pieces of fabric and that's it. I just want to mention something. At the beginning of this video, I go over the materials and you will see that my strap is cut in half, which is part of how to make this strap. But before we cut the strap, we need to fold the edges. So I'm going to show you how to do that first. Then after you fold the edges, you will see the strap being cut, you know, the longer strap and then the little part that you connect. And then we're going to make the swivel hook connector. So I just want to mention that because I feel the video it's a little out of order. And it's because I was recording something and then I recorded something else. And anyway, a little different today. Okay, let's get started. Before we can add the swivel hook connector, we need to fold the edges of the strap like this one. I am going to fold it in, and let's make sure that the strap is not twisted. So if I fold it in, this will be the back where it has the joined raw edges, and this is the front where it's smooth. So I'm just going to make sure that I do the same thing and I fold it in to the wrong side. And this is how it's going to look. In order to keep it in place, I'm going to take my fabric glue and I'm just going to put a couple of dots of fabric glue along the corners here. Then I'm gonna fold them in one more time and I'm going to use some wonder clips to keep it in place. By doing this step first, we can put the strap aside until it fully cures. That way when we finish the bag, we can come back to this step and just add the little swivel hook connector and our strap will be completely sealed like this end. Don't miss this step because this will make it so much easier to add the swivel hook connector because as you can see, the fabric is not moving. So you're going to get your webbing that's 1.5 inches wide and the total pieces measure 60 inches. The long piece here, it's about 52 inches and this is between 7 and 8 inches. So about 59, 60 inches long is good. You'll need a lighter to seal these edges here. You will need one slider. In this case, it's a 1.5-inch slider, and you're going to need a D-ring. The D-ring, I did not have one that is 1.5 inch, so I took another slider and I just removed the little metal bar down the center using some small pliers. It was really easy because it's not welded. So all you do is open it up and there it is. So now you have a slider and a D-ring. The swivel hooks I'm going to use are 1/2 inch wide swivel hooks. The hair piece you don't need. Then you need 2 pieces of your faux leather. And this is 3.5 inches long by 1 inch wide. So I have 2 of those. And I have a little scrap fabric of either your faux leather or you can even do like a little piece of fusible interfacing. And that is to help reinforce this area where the swivel hook is going to go. So once you have your materials here, you're going to start putting it together. We're going to seal this edge right here because it does not look like it's very sealed, and you definitely want to do that. The tab one, as you can see, is straight. The other one has that little curve here. You can do this really any way you want. Even if you have a 1-inch swivel hook, you can just leave it like that and put your swivel hook there. Or like in my case, what I did is that I folded this in half and I just cut a little semicircle there, about a 1/4 inch, just to make the width here 1/2 inch. To give it that curve look here, to make the center smaller for the 1/2 inch swivel hook, you can buy patterns. There are tons of templates available online that you can purchase, and that's perfectly fine. But if you decide that these templates don't work, what you can do is just draw a semicircle on the sides and make the width 1/2 inch. So let me show you how I do it. I'm just going to fold this tab right sides together, and I'm going to use my cutting mat here to mark it. Okay, mark the 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch. So I mark a 1/4 inch on one side and the other 1/4 inch on the other side, like that. Okay, so do you see that? 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch. And then I just draw a semicircle, just joining those two lines really quick. So let's do another one here so that you can see 1/2 inch, a 1/4 inch there, 1/4 inch there. I just draw a semicircle, very small there. It's not perfect, but you'll be fine. If you want to make it perfect, find a small item that is round and just draw the line. Then I just take my scissors and now I have my tab with the measurement here down the center to be only 1/2 inch, so that my swivel hook fits perfectly. Very, very easy, okay? What I like to do is reinforce my swivel hook connector a little bit, especially in the area where the swivel hook is going to be placed at, and you know, for the wear and tear. So I take my fabric glue and I take a little scrap of fabric that you may have. In this case, I'm using a little piece of the faux leather, and I'm just going to put a couple of dots of glue down the center here. Consider liking this video and subscribing to this channel if you have learned something today. Like this. And then I just place my little piece of fabric down the center. Put it aside for about 30 minutes. We're going to work on the other part of the strap. So here is your webbing that you cut, right? So you had your two edges that we folded, they're dried, and I took my webbing here and I measure about 7 inches and I cut it there. And then I took my lighter and sealed those edges. I noticed with this webbing the fire wasn't doing it, so I put a little bit of fabric glue here along the edges as well. It depends on your webbing, really. So here we have our strap. The folded side is the wrong side and the front is the smooth side, so remember that. The shorter end, we're going to connect it to the D-ring. So I'm just going to fold it in like that. Okay, and I like to fold it again so I can hide that raw edge. And I'm just going to put a couple of wonder clips here and put this aside for now. Then I have the longer part of my webbing, and I have my raw edge here, which again I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make sure that my right side is facing me. Okay, so the right side of my webbing, and I know that based on the pointy edge. And I'm going to take the cut edge and I'm going to insert it up the slider and down like this. And then I'm going to also fold the raw edges one more time and fold it in and put it aside. Like that. So I have my webbing on one side of the slider, which is facing the right way, right? It's not crooked. And I have the other part of my webbing, also the right side facing me along this slider. So the whole point that we need to do now is join these two pieces of hardware. Before we join these two pieces of hardware with the rest of the webbing, we're going to take this to the sewing machine and stitch one line or two lines or a square, rectangle, an X, whatever you want. But just make sure that you reinforce your stitching. So if you do one, that you do another one, or that you stitch over that. You definitely want to have more than one stitch line, and you need to back stitch at the beginning and at the end. And this is how they look. You probably can barely see the stitch lines there, but I did two, one really close to the folded side and one about a 1/4 inch up, and I stitched over it twice, and I did the same on this end. Now we're going to put the strap together. So we have the wrong sides here, and the folded edge matches the folded edge here, as well as on the longer one. And that's important. If you notice that it doesn't match, this is the time to take the stitching out and do it again, okay? So with the right sides facing you, so here I have my slider and the right side is facing me. Here I have the other end, the right side is facing me. I'm going to take my longer webbing and making sure that it is not twisted, I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to take that edge, the pointing edge, and I'm going to insert it on this D-ring, on the other side of the D-ring. Okay, just like this. You're going to slide it, and then you're going to take that pointy edge with the right side facing you, and you're going to insert it into your D-ring like this. So this is how it looks. You have your bottom half, right side facing you. You have your longer half with the wrong side. You're going to insert it in the D-ring, and when you fold it, it's now going to look like the right side. And you're making sure your webbing, it is not twisted, okay? It's straight. Take that pointy edge, right side facing you, up the slider, over and down like this. So the right side is this way, facing you still. It is not twisted. Here's my right side, here's my right side, and here's the rest of my webbing, and it is not twisted. Okay, that's how you insert your webbing to your slider in your D-ring to to make your strap adjustable. It is time to insert our swivel hooks to our connectors. And so go ahead and take your swivel hook and slide it down the connector. And you'll have it like this and like this. Take your strap, one of the pointy ends, and you're going to measure 1¼ inches up from that pointy edge. You can use double-sided tape for this step or just your wonder clips, however you want to do it, whatever's easier for you, but you can put a little piece of double-sided tape there and here. This is just going to help keep the connector in place while you take it to the sewing machine. It's not really going to stick it in place, okay? And just find that marking that we just did, the 1¼ and you're going to place the edge of your piece of faux leather right over that 1¼ inch mark and down the center of your strap of your webbing, and then fold it in half. And that's it. You're going to take this to the sewing machine and you're going to stitch all around it, across and on the sides a couple of times. If you want to do an X, you can, but definitely do the rectangle and reinforce the stitching on the top and the sides. So let's do the other one. Before you start stitching, make sure your bottom pieces here, the sides match and they're even. You don't want the back to be sliding this way. You want it to be even, that it matches the front, so the front and back look exactly the same. And of course, also when you're stitching, you need room in between the swivel hook and the pointy edge. You don't want to hit the needle with the swivel hook, okay? So that's important as well. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'm just going to start with the swivel hook this way. This is just one of many styles of straps that you can do to just give your bag a different look. If you want to learn how to make other straps, I have a whole playlist. So go ahead and check them out. I will see you there, okay? Ciao.